Welcome to the Recruiting Scoop on the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel. I'm Joe Cook, got Justin Wells. Thanks for watching. I know you've seen a lot of us lately, but we keep bringing it for different topics. And today we're going over some of the visitors the Longhorns will be hosting this weekend for Fan Day. Of course, make sure that you do like this video and subscribe to this channel. We'll have stuff coming all weekend. And of course, if you're not done so yet, 4 months for $1 over at InsideTexas.com. That gets you all the way up to the week before Ohio State. So everything that happens in the world of Texas football between now and August 25th, you're going to want to be involved with. And hey, if you're watching this and you're in Austin, you still got time. Head to the Inside Texas Tailgate giveaway just outside of Dish Falk Field, presented by Academy. We will be just north of the Dish. On that berm in left field between the outfield fence and the tennis courts. We'll have a tent, be easy to identify. You can win all these things. Blackstone Omnivore Griddle, 32 hard cooler from Yeti, Ramblers from Yeti, 2 UT folding chairs, and a 10x10 flag canopy. So come check us out. No purchase necessary to enter or win this raffle. 1 entry per person, must be present, must be 18 as well. Justin, we're not getting a spring game, but we are getting some recruits coming into town. And that includes one that we talked about a little bit on Tuesday. You broke the news on Tuesday. One of the top 2026 running backs from Florida, I believe, making his way to Texas. Someone from an area Chad Scott's familiar with. Tell us a little bit about Derek Cooper.
Yeah, so Texas went to Fort Lauderdale for their quarterback in 2026, 5-star Diabell. They felt good about that. They should. Maybe probably the best quarterback in the country. They decided to go back to Fort Lauderdale. Now, it's a different school. It's a Chaminade Madonna Prep. I don't know if Madonna actually went there, but
it's a title for Mary. I know that.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do, my man. And so, look, Derek Cooper is a name that Texas fans have kind of heard whispers about for about 6 months, because he's an absolutely phenomenal tailback, one of the best in 2026. But Choice couldn't get him on campus. The talks were always kind of, muddled a little bit. Nothing was – there was no clarity there. Chad Scott comes in, Plant City, Florida native, goes down there and says, Derek, I need to see you. Derek's going to be on campus this weekend. That is the biggest recruit coming in for the Fan Fest Fan Day extravaganza in Austin. Look, Derek Cooper is just a big kid. He's a big running back. You kind of get like a taller Edgerrin James out of him when you watch his running style. He's just an absolute dog, and everybody in the country wants this kid. And so, this is one of those things where is Texas sitting with him? We have no idea. This is going to be his first trip. This is going to be his introduction into UT and the 40 acres in Austin, Texas. And so this is one of those things where I think Cooper wants to make sure he wants to go out and check these guys out. He knows Jared Gibson. He knows CJ Baxter. So there's a Florida vibe there. But the thing is that Texas is having to make up a lot of slack in this recruitment, because there's a lot of others that had built up big time. Miami it has always been a school that people have kind of thought, had sort of a lead. I know Florida is another one, an in-state power that was kind of having the lead there. But he's made it clear he's open. He's made it clear that he wants to, he wouldn't mind leaving the state. I know Tennessee is making a push. There's a handful of others. Number of schools there. But right now, Derek Cooper's just kind of an anomaly in a way, because you just – most times we have an idea where kids are kind of leaning and trending, but right now Texas is trying to get into this recruitment. Usually they're a little bit ahead of this, but Chad Scott had a late start. He's only been on the job, less than 2 months. Getting Derek Cooper on campus, what I told a source earlier this week, was huge. That's something Choice didn't do. And so I think Chad Scott deserves credit. Let's see how this trip goes. And if they schedule an official visit by Sunday, then we're cooking with grease.
Yeah, it should be interesting to track. Texas has KJ Edwards. They feel good about that. In-state, there's some other guys in-state that they're kind of lacking on right now. And then they've expanded elsewhere, with Amari Latimer from Georgia, Xavier Crowell from Alabama, and it looks like
Edwards and Latimer are probably your likely 1A, 1B in the 2026 class, two guys. They would love for Cooper to jump into that conversation. This weekend's going to tell us that, and Inside Texas will tell you that when we get it.
Moving over to defense, the Longhorns are hosting a couple of the top defensive tackles in the nation. One is from Florida. That is Kendall Guerville. The other is from Tupelo, Mississippi. That is Jeraylon McCoy. And I think a lot of Texas fans are kind of fans of McCoy because Texas replaced Texas A&M on his list of official visits. This is one that, from Mississippi. So there is some, southeastern flavor to this recruitment. Of course, Ole Miss and Mississippi State seem involved. But let's start with McCoy. Texas slid in to the Aggies' place in his schedule. Texas is getting him this weekend. What is kind of the latest with McCoy in Texas as Kenny Baker looks to continue to add to the defensive tackle room?
Yeah, so we'll start with McCoy, like you said. He is more of an edge target. He might be listed at D lineman, but this kid is, every bit of 6'6". This is going to be, he's going to play edge at the next level. Kenny Baker is still one of his guys, and Pete Kwiatkowski is the other one that's in that mix. With McCoy, he's smitten with Texas. He has, he's already been to Austin once, and this guy, there's something about it that it's bringing him back. And of course, like you said, he's very endeared to Texas fans because they weren't even in the conversation a month and a half ago, almost 2 months ago. They just weren't. One school was Texas A&M. Well, as soon as McCoy came to Austin, he decided, I need to come back here for an official visit, and that's what he's going to do. And he replaced the OV that he was going to with A&M. McCoy is pretty open, and I got to be honest with you, I think Texas kind of looks good here. He's one that we don't have a great read on right now, but there are some fact patterns right now that are kind of tilting towards Texas. He watches Colin Simmons. He watches these guys, and he sees that opportunity to come in to play early and make an impact. And so I think they're clicking. I think there's something with the staff and him and his family. They really like each other. And so him coming in this is a good sign that he's going to come in again, his second time for the spring, before his official visit. That bodes well for the Horns. They need a couple edges in this cycle. They're going to be very picky with who they take at edge. And I think the number's only probably going to be 2 there because right now there is a cupboard full of them in Austin. But McCoy is somebody they love, they covet. And I think this thing could be trending Texas here pretty quickly.
What about with Kendall Guerville from Fort Myers? Just made a cursory look at his On3 profile. A lot of orange and blue flavor to that one, but how can Texas maybe make this one burn orange?
So going into Florida, it used to be you got to knock out the big 3: Miami, Florida, Florida State. Well, times have changed, and that's a little bit more open borders than it used to be. With Guerville, I think that's some old school mentality in this recruitment. Florida, Florida State, and Miami are probably his top 3 schools, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think this is a guy that might want to stay in state, but Kenny Baker is cooking, and he's got some momentum and he's got some confidence now. I heard he traded up from the flip phone to Android, and so now we can do like multiple texts and things of that sort. And so right now you got to give Kenny Baker a ton of credit. He's had enough influence on Guerville to where he's going to take an official visit in June as well. I believe it's that June 13th, 15th weekend. That is looks like it's going to be a long weekend for the staff at Inside Texas. But that's what makes it fun. That's what makes it great. Guerville's this is a let's shoot our shot type recruitment because they've had no problem going to Florida for recruits and for defensive linemen. Myron Charles last year before DeAndre Robinson before the late flip, which, hey, DeAndre, I saw you in the portal the other day. Nice to see you. They have no problem going down into Florida. Guerville's another one of those guys, but they're going to have to pull from the big 3. And like you said, that orange and blue is kind of trending right now. I think what we could see, and sometimes when schools load up and then they don't have the year that you hope they have, Texas has been really good at kind of pillaging and kind of like snatching some of those guys. Florida 2 years ago, USC last year. I would watch Florida again here. If they don't have the season they're supposed to have, I think it's open season on a lot of their top targets. But hey, I believe in DJ Lagway. I love Billy Napier. I think they'll be fine. But they're going to have to get him out of Florida. This is going to be – some of these kids have no problem leaving. Kendall's going to be one they have to do some work.
A lot of pressure on DJ Lagway's shoulder. We'll see what happens there.
I hope he's healthy, man.
Me too. I want to see him succeed as well. Before we keep going, got to show some love to our sponsor. That is Luxe Kitchen and Bath.
This video is brought to you by Luxe Kitchen and Bath. Luxe has been offering high-end kitchen and bathroom remodels for 3 generations throughout the greater Austin area. With 5-star review after 5-star review on Google and Facebook, and an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, you can put your faith in Luxe Kitchen and Bath's award-winning designers and skilled craftspeople to bring to life that dream vision of your special home. But that's not all. Luxe's all-star team provides full remodels, large additions, and even commercial build-outs as well. So call Luxe Kitchen and Bath at 833-358-LUXE today. Or visit luxekitchenbath.com to discover where quality meets luxury and begin the process of transforming your home. Get a free quote today by calling 833-358-LUXE. That's LUXE. Or by visiting luxekitchenbath.com. Link in the description.
Justin, it's never too early to talk about the next class. Top 2027s are also going to be visiting Texas. We got one to talk about from in-state, one to talk about from out-of-state. The in-state guy from the Dallas area transferring, correct, to one of the powerhouses in the DFW Metroplex. That is Kadrian Redmond, 6'4", 300, 4-star already in the top 200, top 150 of On3's rankings. And he's going to be checking out what Kenny Baker and the Longhorns have to offer this weekend.
Yeah, so you're going to get some more of those 2027s popping in this weekend. A lot of the guys you see coming into Austin this weekend are going to be guys they couldn't get in the previous month. Every weekend they were holding scrimmages where they were bringing in recruits and stuff like that. And so this is them kind of, filling in the blanks. Redmond is a guy that Texas may not have to go out of state for defensive tackle in 2027. There's 3 or 4 in state. So I think the state is starting to cycle up a little bit more. I mean, there's tons of offensive linemen, especially offensive tackles. D-tackle is going to start bringing it back up, I think. Redmond is one of those guys. Yeah, he's headed to DeSoto, the home of the Eagles. Rich get richer. That's the way that works. But you know what? DeSoto does an amazing job. They've got great staff, so you're not going to hear me say anything. But Redmond in Texas, the thing is, I think the offer from Texas is kind of what triggered all the other offers that Redmond picked up. He is a special guy. Our Charlie Williams has been all over him. He's already seen him a few times. But he's one that, hey, if you're looking at D linemen from Florida for 2026, we got to look at a couple of them from 2027. And Redmond's one of those guys. Getting him back, it's important just because you know what's happening right now that's really, really significant for Texas recruiting is the NFL draft. And I'm telling you, when there's another potential dozen guys go off the board in the next 48 hours, these 27s are the ones that are paying attention to all that. Of course, the 26s see it, and it's significant. But these 27s, that's what they know. And when he sees Alfred Collins' name mentioned, he's going to know. When he sees Vernon Broughton potentially mentioned, he's going to know. And so Redmond's a guy you just got to lay the foundation. Texas already did that. And just continue to massage that recruitment to keep it warm, keep it toasty. And then there's a running back. Can I go ahead and slide into – there we go. Let's talk Elijah. Go ahead. I didn't know if you –
I was going to say it's 7 of the top 30 defensive linemen in the 2027 class are from Texas. So Kenny Baker's going to be looking around the state pretty regularly for big boys to bring in on the defensive line. But, yeah, let's go from Texas to New York real quick.
How often do we do that? Not very often. The last time I can think of a recruit from New York was Royal Ivy.
Bamba, but that's the only one. Yeah, he was from Harlem.
Yeah, okay. See,
but here we are, basketball. We're not talking about it with football.
I understand. I'm thinking Terrence Rencher. I'm thinking Lance Freeman. Like, are we playing basketball? No.
Is Penders on staff?
Oh, man. Oh, goodness. Woo. Oh, at least Kimball's grades would be safe. No, listen, Elijah Kimball is a guy that he popped up on the scene as soon as Chad Scott got hired. Why? Because Chad Scott found him. And so just like the Chartreuse before, who had brought previous relationships with CJ Baxter and with Jarrett Gibson, this is the same scenario, except the kid's from New York. And you think, well, come on now. We don't know. Basketball, absolutely. But football, Texas has fished in New Jersey a little bit, and they haven't really enjoyed what they're catching there so far. But this guy is legit. Like, if you put him in Texas, he looks like a Texas running back. He is electric. Ohio State loves this kid. Michigan loves this kid. And there's a reason now that Texas and Chad Scott still love this kid. Kimball loves that previous relationship. He was looking at West Virginia along with those other big schools because of Chad Scott. And that's why I've kind of said on the board at Inside Texas a few times, I know it's early, but I wouldn't be surprised if Elijah Kimball's in this class at some point and winds up ending up on the 40 acres. Look, I'm eager to meet him because he has got the best personality. He's never been to Texas before, fans. So y'all need to greet him. He does not understand. This is going to be kind of a culture shock for him in a sense for a little bit, but that's what the recruiting process is about. That's what's going to be fun. And he's going to be around a lot of fans on Saturday. So he's going to feel the love. He's going to understand it. He might be the most excited of all the guys that are coming in this weekend. I was able to catch up with him a little bit earlier this week. Just a great kid. The tape, 2 minutes of the tape and you're convinced. You see his offer list, you're convinced. Most of the time, I'm going to tell Texas, stay in state for your tailback, or go to Florida, maybe Mississippi, go to Georgia, Louisiana maybe for a tailback. Hey, go up to New York. It's all good because Elijah Kimball is legit, very quick, very fast. He has a suddenness about him. He looks like he could play versatile to do different things out of the backfield. Texas looks really good here early, and I'm probably most eager to see Cooper and Kimball because I know Chad Scott has been working so hard on these running backs, but I also know both of them have an eagerness to see what Austin's all about. And Kimball, his eyes are going to be so big. I can't wait to see you, Elijah.
I know it's not called the Carrier Dome anymore, but the Carrier Dome and DKR are a lot different, and we'll see if he's able to see that distinction. So make sure you head to InsideTexas.com. Make sure you are tuned in, and if you're not, 4 months for just $1. That gets you all the way up to the Ohio State week of. So between now and then, you're going to have all the recruiting intel. You're going to have all the different official visit intel, summer workouts, everything over at Inside Texas. So 4 months for just $1. Come join us. There's a link in our description. And then also make sure you come stop by just outside of the left center field scoreboard between the outfield fence and the tennis center. We are hosting a tailgate today for the Friday Texas A&M game. It is presented by Academy, hosting a raffle where you could win a Blackstone 28-inch omnivore griddle, a Yeti Roadie hard cooler, a 10x10 Texas flag canopy, 2 UT folding chairs, 2 Yeti tumblers. And, this is just the good stuff. I wish I could bring it home myself, but don't think I'm eligible to enter. You have to be 18 and present to be eligible to win. You are only limited to one entry and no purchase is necessary. So, Justin, thank you so much. We'll have a ton of recruiting stuff over on Inside Texas this weekend, but we'll see you next time on the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel, powered by InsideTexas.com.